Hey y'all, Brian Thacker, Natural Self Yoga. Here I am today with Mike, one of my best students. He's been practicing with me for 3 or 4 years now here, and I've been so inspired by his growth that we're gonna have him help us with the transition from Ashtavakrasana or 8-angle pose into koundinyasana. So just wanted to, before we start, Mike, is it okay if we put you on video and on our YouTube? Okay. Just to show you that this isn't a hostage video. He's a really good friend of mine. He made a wood carving that's really cool and inspiring for my Natural Self Yoga channel as well. So anyway, we've just finished a class where we did full splits, which is Hanumanasana. We do that every Monday, and so our hips are really, really open. So what we're going to do now is start off with Mike in the lizard lunge with the right foot forward and the left leg back. So the key here is to stretch out your right hip. Okay, he's got his elbows down. You might not be able to do that. So until you get your elbows down, you're going to want to stay on your hands, just like he's got here, and you're relaxing this hip down, and eventually maybe you can bring one elbow down or an elbow to a block, and then both elbows can come down. So the goal here is not in any rush, not in any hurry. It took Mike a long time to get here. But once you're here, eventually, once this hip gets open enough, you can bring this right shoulder underneath your right knee. And then you'll reach out into your fingertips. Okay? And then maybe you can reach back behind you for a bind. Okay? So you can keep this back knee down if you need to, but he's got an advanced pose. This is really where his breath is relaxed, okay? His core is engaged. And that's the only way that you can do this. So this, if you're in a class and they cue lizard lunge, you can stay here, and it's a great pose. It's all the pose that you need. But this is the bind, and then if you want to come into your koundinyasana, which is called flying splits, you bring this hand directly underneath this elbow, okay? And then the arm comes to underneath this thigh. The closer you can get it to the hip, the better this is going to be. And then he rolls to the inside of this foot as he heel toes this right foot out and hinges forward and breathe. And that's beautiful. It took him a long time to get there, but it's fantastic and he inspires everybody in my class now. It's awesome to have him here. All right, and so that's the first step. Once you can get there and get nice and calm and balanced, then we'll move on to the next step. Once again, this is a hip opening pose. The pose itself is just a manifestation of when your hips get strong enough. It's not so much shoulders because everything is crow pose. Once you can do crow pose, you have the shoulder strength. Then it's just flexibility. So now we'll come down to his seat. So to teach Ashtavakrasana, which is 8-angle pose, you can get into these poses from many different areas. One of the places that I like to do is from this double pigeon or fire log. It's called many different things, but your hips need to be flexible and your hips need to be open. So if this is a challenge for you, this is the pose that you need to stay in as long as you can. And then relax your hips and everything will go from there. But from here, we usually move into a compass pose, and that's going to be our entry point for the Ashtavakrasana. So for compass pose, you'll lift this right foot up into your chest, like cradle the baby or love my leg, and then he's still working his hip, right? He's swaying it back and forth, side to side. Once again, we have already done a Hanumanasana class. We've already stretched out the hamstrings and the hips quite a bit. So you may need to do some extra stretching before you get here. These poses are very challenging. They are advanced. So just be aware it takes time and effort, but over time, it is accessible. So from here for your compass pose, you're going to bring this right elbow underneath, and then your left hand comes onto the foot. And then bring the right hand down to the ground. That's your pivot point. You plant the right hand down, and then you work to straighten the right leg. Okay? This is your compass pose. Your leg might not straighten. He's looking underneath his left shoulder, and this looks fantastic. This is a great stretch. This is all you need, right? If you get here, you're getting a good stretch in your hip, you're getting a good stretch in your hamstring, and this should feel really good. If you want to get kind of fancy and move into your arm balance, your Ashtavakrasana or 8-angle pose, you start with bending into your right knee. So you bend your right knee and bring the knee as high up on the shoulder as possible. So this knee gets way up on the shoulder like you're hiking a backpack up on your shoulder. Perfect. And then you plant your hands. Once again, the elbow is over the wrist. And that's where your strength is going to come from, in this here. Then cross the left ankle on top of the right. And from here, you'll plant the left hand down, squeeze your knees, press into your hands, and lift up. You'll hinge forward, breathing steady, squeezing the knees. And this is Ashtavakrasana. And while he's here, just to show you the transition, it's basically the same pose. Ashtavakrasana is the same pose as koundinyasana. And it's a lot of fun if you can do it. It's fun to play. All right, and you can relax. Nicely done, Mike. See, that's so great. It took him a long time. I remember him struggling with it, and he would fall, and he would fall, and he would fall. And I remember when I was struggling with it, and I would fall, and I would fall, and I would fall. But the idea is to come at these poses and this yoga practice with a curious mind. Come with an inquisitive thought process, like how can I build some more strength, or what is causing me to have difficulties with this pose, and just practice. You keep practicing and all these poses will happen. Just a little bit every day. There's no secret, there's no shortcut. You just do a little bit every day. Work on your hips, stretch your flexibility, work on your core. Core work is very important for all of these arm balances and things like that. And the next thing you know, you'll be doing these poses, you'll be showing everybody how to do them, and they'll be inspired by you as well. It's so much easier to have somebody in your class that can do these poses other than just the teacher, so that they can say, oh look, maybe I can do it too. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but if you want to, and you take a consistent practice every day, you'll work towards it, and it'll just happen automatically. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. This is the transition from Ashtavakrasana, which is 8-angle pose, to koundinyasana, which is flying splits. It's basically the same pose. Your body's in just a little bit of a different configuration. Play with that and have a good time with it. Thank you all for watching. Namaste. Have a great day, and I hope to see you at a mat somewhere near you. Thanks a lot, Mike. Good job. Well done.